growth in wisdom, knowledge, you see, self-understanding and self-discovery, healthy relations, self-control. All those things are hateful. But this is the only way a minority can rule over a majority of people, is by turning their minds backwards so that they love the things that destroy them and hate the things that move them forward. In order for these people to rule over us, we must hate learning. It has to be built into us. We must think that we can't do math. Because you see, if we do math, if we were into learning, if we were into research and into thinking and into, real philosophical ideas and abstractions, we would defeat those people. They know it. So consequently, what they must do is rob you of all of these things so that they may stay in there.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good night, good evening. Whatever time you're watching this is Brian HRap B. Williams. As you see, this is the End of the Bench Media. This is a few minutes with HRap. Before I start, I thank my parents, Dolores and John. Without them, there is no me. Without me, you'd be doing something else with your valuable time. Thank you for tapping in. It is important that you assist me by, if you're not watching this at the beginning or live, you can go to www.theendofthebench.com. You can see the Black History information that I'll send to you shortly, or you can just watch this and visit and support. You guys do a bang-up job by doing that. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the shares. It's important that you continue to do so. Thank you very much. A few minutes with HRap, that's what we're doing. It's a few minutes. We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. Today, mob rule is the order of the day. The United States federal government is moving like the organized crime or like the television or movie mafia. They're not following the rules. They're doing what they want to do. And then you have a hate-filled society that's supporting this, and it's letting you and I know what we're up against. I need everyone. I need each and everyone to start paying attention to what's going on and not be heavily distracted by the foolishness and the nonsense and the propagandized information that is being disseminated to you via social media, the news on the television, the news on cable, and things of that nature. These podcasts that are giving fictitious information, like Mr. Smith from ESPN, he is supporting what he believes is a regime that's in top, and basically what he is doing is supporting fascism. He believes that, hey, I'm supporting my pocket. And when you support your pocket, then you find yourself alone, because if you are making 25, 30, $40 million a year, you're in a small minority of people that are doing as such, and those people don't want you there. He's going to get a wake-up call, and people like him with his mentality will get a wake-up call. But simultaneously, we must look at him and use him as an example and a reason to come together and fight against this. They're changing laws. They're amending constitutional rights. They're doing everything they can to stay in power, and people are supporting this. And don't get angry. When you see your laws, your rights being stripped away, it's not time to get angry, unless your anger is followed by action. But to just be emotional about it is not going to get you anywhere. You disagree with what I'm saying, what I want you to do is pay attention to what happened to the great Dr. King, the great Malcolm X, the 68 riots, the 56 riots, and even the riots at Detroit, when people got upset and then they burned down the west side of Chicago. They burned down the Inglewood area here in Chicago, and they burned down multiple Black neighborhoods, and those neighborhoods still haven't recovered to this day, 57 years later. The action you take is the action of might is versus right. The actions of people who are doing everything, every single solitary thing they can to elevate, to enhance, and motivate their people. That's what you do. See, you have a lot of people that stand around and talk about what they're sick of, what they're tired of. This will never work. Remove those people from your inner circle. I'm not saying remove those people from your life, because they have the right to feel the way they feel. They just like you feel the way you feel, and you're serious about it. They have the ability to think what they want to think and follow what they believe is right. You, on the other hand, have the obligation to take advantage of this time. See, we are in situations where a lot of people, there are a lot of distractions. See, where they're distracting you with the LBGTQ, they're distracting you with the immigration, and then they try to cover it by God. God said, see, because what they do is make you attached to something. A lot of people have issues with the LBGTQ. A lot of people have issues with the immigration, but they really don't know why. They just going along to get along. And then the galvanizing effect is God said, or when it's like if you had a debate with someone or disagreement with someone, and what they do is invoke the most emotional portion of your life. What if it happened to your mother? What if it happened to your children? What if it, instead of just using the facts to convince you what their argument is and how valid it is, they invoke emotion and hopes to get you to galvanize with them, and it could potentially lead to the destruction of you. And that's what people do. When you invoke God into anything, okay, first of all, God don't like the LBGTQ. So now you got God and anti-LBGTQ. So if you roll with the LBGTQIE, you don't like God. No, I love God. I can't do that. But if you truly love God, you would understand, follow, don't judge unless you want to be judged on that same level. Judge not, ye be judged thing, because the whole scripture says, unless you want to be judged as well. See, it's not don't judge. If you want to be judged on that same scale or that same level of scrutiny, then judge. If you can take it, dish it out. That's what that scripture really means. But then migration, now you got, see, now you are become a single issue voter or a single issue politician, and then you say, hey, well, they're taking your jobs. Well, I haven't seen a lot of people who couldn't speak English, who don't have the financial wherewithal to dress accordingly. They don't have the academic aptitude to go in corporate America and take these jobs. So, and remember, just 12 years ago, was 8 years ago, you had a president running on bringing jobs back to America. So he didn't bring those jobs back. So what happened to those jobs? So how is it that you have a situation to where, as people are taking jobs that are overseas, according to you, they send all the jobs overseas? How did those jobs get back in somebody else that they came to the country take them? Make it make sense. We must start using our aptitude, academic aptitude, reasoning, basic deductive reasoning, common sense, and anything that makes things add up. Use those right now. Use those. You don't have time. Black people, especially, we don't have time to hate somebody else. See, that's why it's called mob rules. If you think about it, even when you watch the movies, you watch television, the mob does not kill a bunch of people. They traditionally kill each other. They don't, and then they create this specter of invincibility, and they make you believe you're next. They traditionally only hurt each other. How does that equate to you? Stop being afraid of what may or what could and what I understand and I heard, and start realizing that the true power lies within you. You can no longer sit around and wait on things to change. They are not going to change. Nothing has ever changed because you sat there and hoped and prayed. Oh, well, I prayed real hard and then I magically got it changed. No. Even when you want to say it was a miracle, I was diagnosed with this and it was a miracle. And you know what the miracle was? God inspired you to get up off your behind, start exercising, start eating right, and your body healed itself because you took the negativity of stress away. You took the negativity of poisoning your body away, and you start eating better, thinking better, and you became better. See, the inspiration is where God stepped in. The action is where you step in. And we have to stop assuming the government, like, if that was the case, how is it that I'm on here saying what we need to do to combat what's going on? They'd have killed me a long time ago. They'd have killed me at least 132 shows ago. But I've been doing it longer than 132 shows. But that's what I'm saying. We have to stop allowing this specter of invisibility. No. And these people are moving like the mob. They are cutting back. They cutting back deals. People are being silenced. People are potentially being unalived. There's a lot of stuff that's going, but even with organized crime, even with the Gestapo tactics that they are using, use history and allow it to be your guide. Use the past to predict, to show you where you are, and to navigate the future. That's an African concept called Sankofa. What I need us to stop doing is standing around and watching the train go by. The train of power is a slow moving train. And if you have the ability to jump on it, educate yourself and move forward. We can no longer sit around and say, hey, man, well, in 4 years, no, because this regime is attempting to remove the 4-year thing. I've said this dozens of times on this program. If voting means nothing, why are they doing everything to stop you from doing it? Homeless people don't traditionally have millions of dollars in their pocket. So you wouldn't find a bunch of people running into a bunch of homeless men and women pockets and purses because they don't have anything. And if I'm trying to take something away from you, that means it's of value. See, you think the president is the president is a figurehead. He is a stooge. And if you listen to him talk, you understand it's something behind that. But what we have to do is understand what we're up against. And if you don't take the time to figure out what you're up against, then you'll never understand what you're dealing with. What we're dealing with is CIA and not the Central Intelligence Agency. Criminals in action. These people are getting rich, they're getting powerful, and they're enacting things that the Constitution was originally designed for. Rich, land-owning white men. Rich, land-owning white men. But you think it's about hate. You think it's about discriminatory practices. You think it's about the chaos and the crash out. No. The rich and powerful have purchased the government and they want to run it the way they want to run it, and they want to put you in such a tight situation. You can only do what they allow you to do. And if you sit around and you just watch this spectacle, if you just watch this train slowly creep past you, that's what will happen. That's why they want to do away with academia. Because if you educate yourself on what was, and you will see what used to be, and then you'll know what is, and you'll see what's coming in the future. Again, I'm going to say it slowly. If you educate yourself on what was, you'll understand what is going on, and you'll know what's coming in the future. But we are not educated to do that. So the criminals that are in action, the criminals that are taking action, they do away with academia. And then they allow the corporate entities to raise the prices. Do you understand this? Like, for example, I buy bags of ice. In 7 days, the ice went from $5.50 to $7.50. There is no tariff on water. So why did ice go up? The machine doesn't run any different. So why did ice go up? Because they need you to do what you have to do. So now that's an additional $2 out of my pocket. Then if I want fast food, what we can do is simply what they did with ABC and Jimmy Kimmel. People start subscribing, they canceling their Disney Plus subscriptions. They start walking away from ESPN. If you want to play tough, not a problem. Not a problem. And if you notice, there wasn't a big meeting, there wasn't a big anything. What they did is just walked away. And if my people walk away from these gigantic brands and the bag and these fancy cars, and you keep your $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, and you start investing in I forgot the name of this black brand that has an athletic apparel. You start investing in them and stop investing in Nike. If you walk away from the National Football League, if you walk away from the SEC, the Slave Economic Conference, because that's all it is. If you think about it, that's where the economy of slavery was. The SEC starts in North Carolina, swoops around to Texas. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I ain't saying, but I'm saying. If we walk away from these athletics, we turn our TVs off. The criminals that are in action will have to revert to what it used to be, and then it's plan B. It only takes you, all you have to do is go back to 2008, people. 2008 will get you exactly where you want to be. As a matter of fact, let's go back to 2000. George W. Bush pushed the country in a full Nelson and falls on it. Put it what Jake the Snake used to do, the DDT, put us in the headlock and fail with us. 300,000 jobs a month disappearing. The economy is in disarray. And then this black dude came and saved the day. They would rather die than have a black dude save the day. This guy by the name of Barack Hussein Obama put the country back on track. So they had to do what they did at the end of the Revolutionary War, reinforce slavery. What they did at the end of the Civil War, create laws to oppress us. What they did at the end, and at the onset and at the end of the Korean War and the onset of the Vietnam War, civil rights and reintegration. Because if we continue to stay separated and we build this nation like the Asians have done, like in here, you have Little Korea here, you have Chinatown here, you have Greektown here, you have Little Italy, you have the Ukraine village. And if we start saying, well, I'm going to go to where all the black stores are, they want you, again, I've said this a dozen times, the illusion of inclusion. If you continue to want to be included, you have the illusion of being part of something that needs you and you don't need. That's why you are foolish enough to have $200,000 cars and $10,000 purses because it's a status symbol. No, it's the status of pain and anguish that you don't want to address. There's nothing wrong with getting the things that you like, but there's also nothing wrong with looking at something and saying, why do I need a $10,000 purse? And then when the Asian people come out and get mad at the people who are in charge and say, hey, we only make that back for $40. And you still purchase it because it has somebody else's name on it. Think about the psychology that goes behind purchasing a Bugatti. So you're riding around with the name Bugatti on you. You have a Louis Vuitton shirt. The name is on you. Bag. The name, you're carrying the bag. What's the difference in you carrying the bag that way and advertising who you have allegiance to, who you are making money for, and our ancestors that were forced to take on the names Williams, Smith, Washington, and they were stripped of their names because we walked around. Instead of being Freeman, like a lot of us have the last name Freeman, a lot of us have the last name Black, a lot of us have the last name anything, and that's somebody else's name. And we proudly do it now. We wear Levi on our back. You ever notice most brands are on your back? And it literally just popped in my head. Most of these brands are on our backs, and they were made from us working and giving them most of our money. Let that sink in. Most of the brands come from us working, giving them our money so we can carry around their names. And you don't think that's criminal? That is the greatest con ever. That is a raw dog grift. And these criminals are in action, and they have you doing the dirty work. They used to have people that's called overseers, and you think it's changed. KRS-One had a song called Silent Police. He said, officer, 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 overseer. And well, what did the overseers do? It was 10,000 of them. You know, it was 10,000 of us and probably 200 of them. Just like in the movie The Warriors, he said, man, it's 20,000 of us. And he was like, it's 50,000 hardcore members. It's only 10,000 cops in the whole town. That's what you see this in cinema on a regular basis. You see this in cinema on a regular basis. And when you see it in cinema, nothing changes. Nothing changes in reality. The reality of cinema is it's actually letting you in on what's going on, and you never pay attention to it. So you can let the criminals continue to take action and dominate you and control you, or you, state of Texas, with the 60% brown and black, allow the minority to present as the majority and control the state. If it's 60% brown and black, and it's the largest black population and the second largest landmass in this country, and 80% of y'all don't go vote, is it the man really? Again, the criminals make you believe that there's something going on that's really not. That's the grift. That's the con. That's exactly what you can. That's exactly what you have to do. But we sit back and say, well, oh man, see, they are not. I've had this conversation. Hey man, I would love to open up youth center, genuine conversation. And I'm not exaggerating in one word. I said I would love to introduce young people, our young people, to STEM and chemistry and things like that. I would love to have it funded by the people in the community. And the person said they will never allow that. You know what? They didn't allow emancipation. You know what? They didn't allow Lewis Latimer. You know, they didn't allow thousands and hundreds of thousands of opportunities that we forced. So if you waiting on the people who enslaved you, the people who beat you into submission, the people who stripped you of your language, the people who rearranged the connection with your God, told you that Vodun, aka voodoo, is bad because it's black magic. And when you look up the word magic, etymology.com, do it for yourself. I don't want to give you information and say, see, listen to rap, because rap knows. No, etymology.com, and look up the dictionary, the origin of the word magic, and you would be shocked. Black magic, which is really black spirituality, which black would be us spirituality, meaning I'm going to make the fact that these people have a direct line to God a bad thing. And because they refuse to look into their history, they refuse to look at their ancestors, they refuse to go to the southern part of the country and talk to their elders and embrace their family members. And we have them in a chaotic state. So they hate their aunts, they hate their uncles, they hate their cousins. I don't know them. They're better than me. I'm better than them. That is what criminals do. Create chaos, and then they move in and take over your situation. That's how criminals work. If you don't believe me, if you disagree, this is what I want you to do. If you are living in the metropolitan area, or if you even living in the southern area, what I want you to do is this: go to a casino. And then they charge in the rural areas or the suburbs of these major cities. You go to a casino, they charge you for everything but things that are sugary, get you high. And then when you go to Vegas, which was created by criminals, they give you those same things free. They give you free liquor. And you make a complaint, they upgrade your room, because if I have the illusion of pampering, I will, oh man, they gave me this free. So I'm gonna spend an extra $100. And if 1,000 people spend an extra $100, game over. Game over. These games are set up for us to win. But if I let that one dude win 50,000, the rest of y'all gonna give up an extra $75. This is criminality at its best. It is debate and switch. It is the grift. Watch a movie called The Grifters. I will give you something to see, but what you see is not what you got. Believe half the things you see and nothing you hear. If you do the research, if you have a conversation with a reliable source, just like, hey, people think college is about learning something new. College is about different experiences. When you hit that campus, you're talking to people from Philadelphia, South Carolina, Mississippi, Florida, Chicago, Los Angeles, and y'all come have a common experience, but it's a different way to do it. And this is the enhancement of it. You can learn everything you learn at a university at the damn library for free. But it's the networking. I met my man Mo when we were at Morris Brown, and Mo ... I met my man Big Illinois when we were at Morris Brown in Atlanta, and he from Los Angeles ... Now when you come up, it's a constant and ebb and flow. It's an ebb and flow. Hey man, my boy, his father sent him to Morris Brown, Atlanta from El Paso, Texas, and he the largest independently owned barbecue sauce maker in the United States of America. But I want to be a restaurateur. Hey, I can let you talk to my father. Bam. Spike Lee gets inspired by a young lady at school, and his parents give her a camera that she don't want. She give it to her boyfriend, Spike. Bam. Do you understand what I'm talking about? The criminals don't want you in academia. The criminals don't want you intermingling. The criminals need you in your 6 to 8 blocks radius, in your county, in your state. They don't need you to go to Indiana. They don't need you to go up to Wisconsin. They don't need you to go to Michigan. They don't need you to go over to Iowa. They don't need you to go to Southwest where Missouri is. They definitely don't need you going because they put all this information and chaos in the air and you're scared. It is this thing called Pavlov's Law. Well, I'm going to put you in a box and I'm going to make it hell for you to be in that box. And then I'm going to take the guards down. And you've been subjected to so much hell that you never leave that box. And that's what the criminals are doing. Chicago is crazy. Los Angeles is crazy. The South going to get you. Don't go to Mississippi. They're going to kill your son. Stop allowing the criminals to dominate you. And this, if you don't, this is what's on the horizon. This video right here is the dictionary definition of when you stand up, be prepared for war. This is what we're on the horizon to. This is our past that is going to tell us what we are headed towards. If you don't believe it, trust me, this is coming back. Unless, but I need you to see what's on its way. This is our brother, Chairman Fred Hampton, right down the street from where I sit right now. This is what's led to the destruction of him and the destruction of an organization. I'm going to tell you about these criminals when I come back. Just a second.
Late on the evening of December 1969, Fred Hampton wrapped up a lecture on politics and law. He then retreated to share a quiet meal with his fiancée, Deborah Johnson. And despite the seemingly peaceful night, there were unseen forces at play. In the early hours of December 4th, without warning, a sudden violent raid broke the stillness. Within moments, a storm of gunfire left Fred Hampton and fellow Panther member Mark Clark dead. As the dust settled, startling revelations came to light, disturbing autopsy findings, manipulated crime scene photos, driving the deeper mystery surrounding the death of Fred Hampton. And if you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at onemichistory.com. If you like audio-only episodes, you can find One Mic History wherever you get your podcasts. But without further ado, let's get started. Fred Hampton was a young, influential Black activist in Chicago, known for his leadership qualities and his community activism as the chairman of the Chicago chapter of the Black Panther Party. Yet, to understand Fred Hampton, you need to start at the beginning. He began his journey with the NAACP, where he successfully expanded their local youth council. He also spearheaded community service programs like the Free Lunch Initiative, and he organized protests against racial discrimination at his high school, prompting positive changes in the school staff. During the late 60s, this was a time of significant social and political unrest. His strong opposition to the war in Vietnam only drew him closer to his activism. By November of 1968, he had become the founding member of the Chicago chapter of the Black Panther Party for self-defense. But prior to him joining the Black Panther Party, his activities had already attracted the attention of the FBI, then led by J. Edgar Hoover. The FBI had labeled him as a key leader in its agitator index, marking him for considerable surveillance. To this end, his phone was tapped for 9 months as the FBI closely monitored his growing influence and activism. See, the FBI's counterintelligence program was specifically focused on undermining groups that it deemed subversive, with the Black Panther Party being one of its main targets. The program aimed to obstruct and neutralize these organizations and prevent the rise of a Black Messiah. Hampton's impact extended far beyond the Black Panther Party. In a remarkable effort to bridge divides, he worked tirelessly to unite various gangs in Chicago, leading to the formation of a Rainbow Coalition. This movement was based in economic solidarity, amplifying his influence and making him a considerable concern for law enforcement and the FBI. The possibility of a unified Black movement posed a significant threat to J. Edgar Hoover and his vision, as he believed that groups like the Black Panther Party, the Young Patriots, the Young Lords, could unite a revolution that could transform the United States. This fear was a driving force behind the establishment of their counterintelligence program.
As you see, when you have criminals in charge of something, when you allow criminals to be in charge of your government, they take action. That's why I say you are witnessing CIA, criminals in action. If you bring things together and fight the inaptitude of racism, what happens is the people at the top need you to hate the LGBTQ. They need you to hate the migrants. They need you to hate white folks. They need you to, and then we're going to put it under the guise of God said. But again, the Klan said they doing this in God. They burn crosses in front of your house. So don't talk to me about God when you preach and hate. Don't talk to me about God when your entire premise is hate. Oh, they just make look. Why you worried about this dude who was totally irrelevant to about 80% of the people in the world? Most people didn't even know who this dude was, but y'all allowed them to make you pay attention to him, and then they made it legal to what is it? Stop and frisk. ICE can stop anybody in America if you look like, or if your accent makes it sound like. People say I ain't never spent no more than 12, 15 hours in Mississippi, Alabama. People say I sound country as hell. So at what point do you start attacking me? See, a lot of people from my community, when they'll go, hey man, they ain't never got their foot off your neck. But while you watching them beat somebody else, again, it's using your past to tell you why you are here so you can know what's on the way. They did the same thing to the people that they identify as gypsies. They did the same thing to Ethiopian Jews. And guess what? Then the Abakanashi Jews got 4 million unalive people. Do you understand what I'm saying? You're going to attack the LGBTQ. Then you're going to attack the people who migrated here. And then you're going to, bam, it's over. It is over. Game over. That's all I'm saying. If you allow these criminals to continue to strip you of your rights and to continue to do participate in nefarious activities and undermine the rule of law, it's coming your way. Hey man, I don't care about them gay people and I don't care about the migrants. I'm sick of them anyway. Well, they're gonna be some people. If you look at the game plan is to get rid of the migrants, get as many of them as possible, get rid of, because they are a growing population. Get the LGBTQIE population has a growing swath of power, and then they just leave. White nationalism, Black people who are undereducated, and the Native Americans, and then they'll be back in power the way they used to be. You see that? It's the mob. That's the mobster that you saw in every movie. That's the dude who controlled things. And if you believe Captain Doofus in the White House is the one in control, it's the unseen hand that controls everything. It's the unseen hand that controls everything. You must ask the why behind the why. Why do you continue to talk about Charlie Kirk? Why you guys strip us of our rights? Because it's, pay attention to this hand while I go in your back pocket. The why behind the why. Why do I focus on everything? The economy. The economy is worse. People are losing more jobs. People are starving. Everything in the world that could be going wrong is wrong. How can you tell me clean water is not going to help me? How can you tell me people polluting the land is not going to hurt me? How can you tell me that reduction in academia is not going to hurt me? How can you tell me I need to hang the 10 commandments up in my classroom and turn around and violate 8 of them? My man has cheated on every wife he ever had. Thou shalt not commit adultery. My man has lied. Thou shalt not bear false witness. My man is stealing. He's been convicted of being a theft. You know, that look, man, this dude, if you ran through the 10 commandments, this dude he chopping down at least 9. But you want to tell me that you got people who are on the floor of Congress showing pictures of them having intercourse with young ladies. That ain't a 10 commandment violation. That's just a man violation. Why are we allowing this to happen? And then when you see people on TV, I don't care what he do, that lets you know, that debunks your theory. Well, it ain't all white people. Well, look, I'm here to tell you, this is my opinion. It's most white people. Don't tell me it's a vast majority of white people that are not up with the foolishness. No, just the very same way they say Black people make up 13% of the population, the good white people make up 13% of their population. Because there is no way in the entire hell, 85% of Black men voted for anti this. 90+ percent of Black women vote for not this. And Other people are not wicked, and they did. Knock it off. Knock it off. But you have to ask why they doing this, to gain control. You saw it at the beginning of the show. I will show you. I will give you a preview of this, of why. This is something I play at the top of the show. This is something that I play at the top of the show. It's going to be 60 seconds. And it will be, let me see, it will be about 60 plus seconds. Yeah. Watch this, and this will tell you.
And it is necessary for those people who rule over us and who rule over African people the world over, growth in wisdom, knowledge, you see, self-understanding and self-discovery, healthy relations, self-control, all those things are hateful. But this is the only way a minority can rule over a majority of people, is by turning their minds backwards so that they love the things that destroy them and hate the things that move them forward. In order for these people to rule over us, we must hate learning. It has to be built into us. We must think that we can't do math. Because you see, if we do math, if we were into learning, if we were into research and into thinking and into, real philosophical ideas and abstractions, we would defeat those people. They know it. So consequently, what they must do is rob you of all of these things so that they may stay in there.
And there you have it, the why behind the why. That's why you defund the schools. That's why you destroy the mentality. That's why you break people down on a regular basis to their lowest common denominator, and then you get them to fight over foolishness. Why do you? Put the gay people on TV and they're gonna make my kids gay. So, question: if you put so many gay people on TV, it's gonna make your kid gay. All I want to ask you is this: why are there any gay people in the world? TV has been around for a very long time. At least TV has been a very powerful tool at least 65 years. Okay, if it's safe to say that 90% of people, 99% of the people on television, even doing this, y'all say this self-proclaimed attempting to gay up our kid. Why? You see gay people grow up in a house with heterosexual people. Like if you have a family and it's 15 people in your family, you might be the only gay person there. So why didn't you just convert over? If you just see so much gay, that you're going to be gay. Why don't think gay people see so much straight and come back over? And if gay is a choice, when did you choose to be straight? Was it some point in your adolescent years you were laying in the bed and you were a young man and said, you know what? See if I kiss Tyrone next week. No, you never did that. You never considered it. And why is it important to you? The why behind the why. They want you arguing about foolishness like that. And then the migrants they're going to come take our jobs. Which one of y'all want to be a nanny? A lot of those people are nannies. A lot of those people are farmers. A lot of those people do in the dairy industry. They in the agricultural industry. Which one of y'all want to do those jobs? Oh, you don't want to do that? You don't want to do that? Okay, so why? What jobs are they taking? How is it that you migrate to this country? You probably have a high school level education, or maybe even worse, because your country is jacked up like that. How you taking a job at IBM, MIT, any corporate Fortune 500 job without academic prowess? Again, how is it that that's happening? But meanwhile, the unions don't want to let blacks in. The unions don't want to let us in, and you have to fight to be a pipe fitter and a plumber. Then when a lot of us get in there, we don't reach back and pull people in. You're doing it to yourself. The why behind the why. I get you distracted by everything in the world, everything that's not important, and what is important, you overlook it and you argue about foolishness like God. No disrespect. Hey, I go to church all the time, so don't get it twisted. But you argue about foolishness about what God you pray to. I thought it was a personal relationship with God. So So if I'm a Muslim and you're a Christian and it's a personal relationship, I'm talking to Allah, you talking to God, and we need to just mind our own business. It's the why behind the why. Why do you want me worried about LGBTQ? Why do you want me worried about migrants and they not taking up? I ain't never been, oh man, I ain't never went somewhere, applied for a job, and they came back and there was a person who couldn't speak English there taking my, doing the job that I wanted. Never happened. Never will. Never will. I don't want to work with no farmers, and I don't want to keep your kids. A lot of the migrant people that come here, that's what they do. So you want those jobs? Hell no. Hell no, you do not. So stop falling for the foolishness. The most important thing in regards to this, and this is the prevailing message for today's episode, let's start talking to each other. If you want to get this problem resolved, if you want the hate to dissipate, if you want the inability to communicate to be enhanced, if you want to stop being overlooked, stop talking at people. Stop interrupting people when they talk. Stop assuming you know what they're going to say before they say it. Allow people to enunciate, allow people to speak freely, and then you retort on what they said, not on what I knew you were going to say that. See, discourse is the most difficult thing to do today because most of us are not listening and we talk at each other. That's why people are, as I recap tonight, that's why people are allowed to never discuss the why behind the why, because you don't know why the things are happening to you are happening to you. That's why criminals are in charge. That's why they can reduce benefits, healthcare benefits, SNAP benefits, Section 8 benefits, and all kinds of benefits to keep you in chaos while they strip you of your actual rights. That's why they can do it. That's why they're able to do those things, because you are not paying attention. You are talking to people. You're talking at people, not to people. If you have a wonderful point in your mind, allow them, because they say something similar to what you've heard. That does not mean that they're going to say the same thing. The problem seems to be you think you know everything and you probably don't know a damn thing. You know how you feel and you know your understanding. Just like me. That's why I encourage people to look up the things that I say. Because if I'm wrong, I'm coming back on and say, hey, I made a mistake. I've done it. I've come back on and say, hey, I made a mistake. This is to correct it. See, we don't spend a lot of time engaging in factual information. We go with the emotional situations. And that's talking at people. See, I feel. And then we regurgitate ignorance. And we stand on ignorance as if it's a red badge of courage. And it's not. That's why you have the mob ruling the people now. That's why these people are on the way to destroying everything that our great-grandparents and our grandparents and our parents fought, scratched, and died for. All that voting stuff don't work. Based on what? They'll never let us do this. Based on what? At no point in the history of this country have all people who are working class or all people in our community come together on one accord for a 12-year period and say, we're going to get this done. At no point. Because the great Dr. King and the great Malcolm X, 65 and 70% of the people did not like them. Just imagine if 75 to 80% of us said, King and X, they right. Let's do it. You know what, Whitney Young and Ralph Abernathy and Fannie Lou Hamer, they right. You know, they're right. Let's do it. Just imagine if that happened. If you just a 10-year period, do you understand? If you can come out of enslavement in this period called Reconstruction, you go from 4% of the people being able to read to 84% of people being able to read. You go from enslaved, incarcerated, in the mouth of the beast, in the belly of the beast, to becoming millionaires and landowners and inventors and doctors and lawyers in a 12-year period. with the Klan and the Black Legion and the United States federal government against you, with more freedom, with more information, with more ability and more finance, what could you do? What could you do? If you stop worrying about, oh man, I'm a foundational Black person, and guess what? The foundation is Black. What about that? What happens? What happens if we start working with other people that look like us, no matter where their slave port left them? Yeah, because your place of origin is the same place. But what happened if you start doing that? What happened if you find out about Jamaican and General Taki? And we already know about the Haitian Revolution. And we know, then we'll find out about John Horse. And you find about other people that's from the community and they did amazing things with far less opportunities than you. So if you start talking to people and start talking at people, you'll find out that you have far more things in common than you don't have in common. Stop arguing, stop pointing the finger, stop waving the finger, stop being disrespectful, stop doing all those things. And you mess around and find out. Like the kids say, you gonna mess around and find out. F around and find out. What if you F around and find out that you're a powerful nation that can't be stopped if 35% of you come together? And then if 55, just imagine, this is what I want to do, and I'm out after this. Just imagine your faith, if this is a primarily Christian country. So if you believe in Jesus in some way, shape, form, or fashion, don't tell me you're a Catholic. And if you are a Christian, your faith started with 13 people, Jesus and 12 more dudes. Now it's billions of people that's rapping you. Jesus and 12 more guys. That's what your faith started with. Imagine, just imagine, if you and 12 people started moving in the right direction. And then y'all got 24 people. It's been 2,000 years, but it took billions to get 2,000 years. But what happened in 100 years? Because that's what I'm talking about. You know my mantra. I do everything for my great-grandchildren's grandchildren to live a better life. So just imagine, my great-grandchildren's grandchildren is 100 years from now. If we start working together for the next 100 years, what will happen? Just imagine. It's not impossible oh man, that's a pipe dream. Freedom was a pipe dream. Black president was a pipe dream. Black mayor was a pipe dream. Black governor was a pipe dream. A woman governor was a pipe dream. A woman on the Supreme Court was a pipe dream. A woman state representative was a pipe dream. A woman millionaire was a pipe dream. Black woman billionaire was a super pipe dream. And all those things have happened. So maybe, just maybe, pipe dreams are only dreams with action behind them. With that being said, thank you for tapping in. If you haven't already, if you're watching on YouTube, go to hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that share. And if you got an extra time on your hands, go to the endofthebench.com, watch the Black History video, Country Boy, watch my video in its entirety, give me some traction there, and continue to support. Thank you. I am HRap, and I am...
I often put it this way. In order for us to be in the state that we're in today as people, we have to be out of our minds. We literally have to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be backwards. It is necessary for us to be maladjusted. It is necessary for us to be disunited. It is necessary for us to be self-hating. It is necessary for us to be filled with an inferiority complex. In a world where the European is essentially about 10% of the world's population, if that 10% is to continue to rule over the other 90%, it must keep that 90% out of its mind. It must keep that 90% in a state of deception. It must keep